me start by saying that there has been a lot of discussions around AI, agentic, the applications of those in the space today. Couple of things which is more important and very fundamental to what we do today, right? While you have all this AI coming in play, these are unprecedented times, right? So you have tremendous amount of geopolitical tensions. You have tariffs. We had a pandemic, and then there is a tectonic shift in the technology, right? So with AI leading in the forefront. Second one, if you look at it, the chips war, right, with NVIDIA and Google fighting it out. And then you have the infrastructure in terms of how are all these going to be supported, right? So that's going to be another challenge. And then you have the last one, which is where you have this, Gemini, ChatGPT, Anthropic, all, creating large language models, creating their own models around how do we advance these capabilities. And we all here are all dependent on that, right? So at the end of the day, how this is going to transpire, right? We are going to use all of those to our real life applications, right? So how do we make that as finance professionals? So I call myself an accountant by heart and digital by mind. I was just wondering, where do I add the AI now, right? So I have to make that small change in that. I'm going to think about it, wear my thinking hats, and bring an AI blend into it, right? So that's on works, right? As I speak to a lot of our customers today, the biggest fundamental problem is that they say that we want to do AI. They do not know where they want to do AI, right? Because there is a huge amount of confusion and, and the hype created it's in the AI and Gen AI and agentic are at the highest hype cycle ever, right? Today, as of today, right? And there is a significant amount of pressure which the CFOs have saying that, oh, I too have, right? The FOMO factor, which you call it the fear of missing out, is tremendously there in the minds of people today. That am I missing the bus today, right? And whether you are in the GCCs today or service providers like us, we are all in the same boat in terms of how do we make this possible, right? There are some very basic fundamental things which we need to do before we chart our AI journey, right? One is, and particularly this is very important from a GCC perspective or any of the service providers like us, which says that there was a transformation roadmap. There was, right? We created a target operating model or an operating model a few years back or probably 2 years back. That operating model is probably not the best model today, right? So there is a need to reinvent the operating model itself. So when I say the operating model, the process transformation itself. So we've seen I've been in this industry for the last 22 years, and I still see the same statement. Our process are not harmonized, right? We operate in different ways, in different geographies, different operating units, and then this complexity of that I grew inorganically, or I grew organically so fast that my process are not complementing what I've been doing, right? There is a imminent need to look at your process models, your existing operating model, which is on your process, in your technology, in the way your the location and the people strategy. These are 4 things which you need to re-look at to actually reinvent and create a new transformation strategy. So when we are doing this reinventing this transformation strategy, it is also important that we bring the AI strategy into place, because A large set of people think that I need to have an AI strategy. You cannot have an AI strategy individually. It has to be a collective thing which goes around your operating model itself. So it has to be a combined thing. When you go into the deep down, there are three things when you design your target operating model. A lot of people talked about data. Again, basically organically or inorganically, disparate systems, etc., etc. We are in this situation. When we talk about technology, the rise of, we call this enabling technology companies, was because ERP was a necessary condition but not a sufficient condition, right? ERP is required because it's your systems of record, but you needed enabling companies like 𝐬𝐴, Blackline, or so on and so forth, to actually augment the intelligence over what the ERPs would provide it to make it more efficient, all right? Transformation is going to be a moving goalpost, and of course we talked about process, which is going to be another elephant in the room which we need to tackle. So with this, the transformation strategy is going to change, and it is going to change every 2 years, if not much, if not much more faster, because the technology is changing at a far more better place. The rise of low-code, no-code platforms, where you can write your own application, you can write your own software, etc., is taking a lot of turns. So we do not know what is going to happen in the next 2 years, which will change our landscape on transformation itself. The next thing is about talent, right? I call myself an accountant by heart and digital by mind, is the fact that accountant, so I'm a finance guy by all means, but I had to learn technology, all right, to understand and create transformation for the organizations. Now, is that enough? Answer is that I need to bring AI skills. It is far more important that if you are saying that I'm a technology guy, for example, on 𝐬𝐴, you might say that I can write codes, I can do this, but if you're only going to write codes, if you're only going to be a technical person, you might not know the end impact. You will only be doing a part of it, right? So understanding what it impacts on a daily basis to the customers you serve, and also how is AI going to make a big play in this, is going to be significant. So we need to reinvent. And for most of the GBS organizations, this is going to be imminent, or organizations such as us. We are continuously looking at how do we train our people in the AI thinking. The expectation is not that we are going to write AI codes, right? The expectation is we are not going to do prompt engineering. That is not the objective what I'm stating here. What I'm saying is that you need to understand how do you have to have a good understanding of AI so that you know where to apply AI when you have both technical and functional knowledge. So that's going to be the future profile requirement. And then with that around, you will also have competencies. If you are able to do consulting, if you're able to speak well, draw good, even drawing good PowerPoint presentations is not required today, because you have, there are a lot of GenAI apps which actually, translate your thoughts into PPTs, right? So the combination of the talent, the future talent, is going to be upskilling ourselves with AI, consulting skills as well, apart from technical and functional. Now comes the bigger question, particularly for the GCCs. Should I build my own AI, right? The question is whether I have to build, acquire, or partner. Acquire, you don't need to do, because you're not going to grow it up to scale to that level. But the question is going to be whether you want to build or partner. I think there was a study by Gartner which said that the cost of setting up an AI capability was much more higher, and there was no ROI, and practically they bled, right? Most of the organizations actually bled, right? So The question is again whether we should build or partner. In my view, service providers like us or an Imagia or those companies continuously would be doing, because we do it for multiple clients, we are able to generate a lot of use cases in terms of what is applicable, where can we quickly, faster do this. I'll just give you a small example, what we were doing recently when we were discussing about how do we apply AI, because this is full of accounts receivable, and I'm not going to touch R2R, which is my favorite subject, and P2P is everybody's subject. We were just thinking about it. What can we do with AI for collections? So we were having a 3-hour brainstorming session. We all go to office every day, and the first 30 minutes we are scratching our head to where to start our day, right? And there are like 30 emails or 50 emails or 100 emails based on what role you have, if not more, right? And then you are going and looking at what are your meetings, where, what is your priority meeting, what do you need to prepare for that. And then comes the bigger thing, right? What is the muck which is going to be thrown at you that day, right? That you need to solve. There are going to be a lot of firefightings, everything, all of that, which we end up doing, right? So we thought, okay, let's look at a collector as a persona, right? So we started thinking a bit differently and said that let's approach AI with the persona view. Let's solve the human problem first, right? So actually, it came very wonderfully. So we designed a prototype of saying that what it means. So when a collector comes into office, there are like he or she had 50 promises to pay, right? And then the system, the AI already, for example, has done the work of saying that I've looked at all the data out of 50 which was committed, only 20 came in, 30 did not come, right? So then it creates recommended actions. It drafts an email. It has to send a dunning letter, or it sends another reminder based on the criticality of the customer, or based on the customer's propensity to pay, etc., etc. Right? Imagine everything is done by the AI. You just get in. You know that you don't need to do an Excel download, do a reconciliation saying that I have 30, and then you start drafting emails, etc., etc. It's all done by AI. Imagine that. And then it gives that saying that you've been interacting with 30 customers, and these 30 customers, here is the responses of those customers, and I have drafted the response for you. So just go through that before you send it. I mean, in an ideal world, we would think that the AI would do it, but that's over a period of time we'll do that. But imagine that it has already created the draft email with empathy, with all that business, keeping in mind the business requirement, empathy, all of that put together. It creates a substantial impact. It tells me that, it also gives me an alarm saying that here are my 10 customers who are probably not going to pay, right? And it also tells me this month you were supposed to collect 100 million. You've done only 10 million, and probably you'd be doing 30 million. So don't expect your incentives this month, something encouraging like that. Yeah. So I'm just saying the dimension of our thinking should change in a way which makes it different, right? So this idea which we stuck saying that we will go all over the place, we will do an extraction engine, our cash applications will work much more better, all of that. Rather than technology, we took a different view and we tried to solve it at a persona level. What am I doing every day? How can I my day much more better? How I can organize myself better? And I can tell you every day I spend 2 hours organizing myself. Right? So it's like For me, it's 30% of my time, which is 20%, 25% of my time gone in addressing what I want to do, right? So what I'm saying is that there are a lot of discussions about AI, what are the art of possible? The art of possible is endless, right? The thinking on which we need to go is much more important. So you are able to solve those problems. The second thing is, I actually told my daughter is doing her BCom ACCA UK program. I told her that there are two things which are very important for you to do, three things actually. One is I told her that you have to learn statistics, right? A lot of people actually talked about forecasting. You know, I still think that we are doing the same forecasting what we used to do, like when I used to do like 15, 20 years back. It was an Excel sheet, put 4% there, 3% here, 10% there, you know, just make it up, right? So imagine this situation where I know statistics, I know data, I have statistics, I understand R and Python programming, right? So I can translate those needs. And then the third one is that I know how to translate that result into presentable formats for people to understand. And the reason I'm saying is that statistics is a very complex subject. So I have a couple of doctorates in my team who would give me fantastic forecasting, saying univariate forecasting, multivariate forecasting. You know, you can change one variable, Siva. In an airline, fuel is 40%. You just change that variable to say, the price of fuel by 5%, it will tell you what is the cost, right? But when I look at it, all of those are statistical models. So what we figured out is that to make it understandable, Gen AI became very important because we were able to create translations between statistics and analytical inferences to actionables, right? But this is going to be the future. So what we are seeing is that we are only seeing today people are struggling for use cases. There are use cases available. You don't need to reinvent, many things. Create forums for AI within your organizations where you're solving the problems what you have, right? Don't look at what others are doing, or what you can look at what others are doing because best practices are required, but you have to do what is required to solve the problems for your today, right? And that is number two. One more challenge, I'm not sure which, I do not know because we are more client facing and we do a lot of solutions. While clients are asking, the business wants AI, the AI councils, they say no AI. So I have at least 5 customers. I had one customer yesterday, one of the largest, I would say Fortune 100 customers who said that they do not want AI. There are some industries which said no AI. When I'm saying AI, I'm talking about Gen AI, right? So here, in this particular context, when I look at music industry, for example, is a very prime example where they do not want to use Gen AI a lot. I'm seeing traditional organizations still not, we do all the 9 yards of effort because the business wants. So the business and the AI councils are not aligned at all. So it's going to take some time. I'm seeing at least 3 out of 10 customers at this point of time where we go the whole 9 yards and we end up saying that we don't. So we had to remove all the Gen AI components and prove that it did not have anything to do with Gen AI, right? So, and that's another step which you also had to face. Finally, responsible AI. We see that the hallucinations, etc., and how this can get into the larger learning models of what you have today into the larger ecosystem, right? That is something which we need to figure out. There is still a lot of work which is being done into how this can evolve. How do you create walls to ensure that you are not getting into those challenges, right? And in summary, AI is going to be the future. AI without technology, without process, without the larger ecosystem, and I want to have an AI strategy without a combination of all of this stuff, uh, I think is a non-starter. Second is look for what are the problems you need to solve for your organization from within, and you'll find a lot of answers. And third one is look for service providers like us or technology providers like Imagia who have ready-made solutions where you don't need to reinvent the wheel because the cost of investment and the ROI is so significant that you will end up wasting a lot of money, resources, and most importantly, time, which is crucial in this fast-paced world. And I can tell you that we struggle to keep pace with the advancements. And imagine that if you're going to build something for yourself, to keep yourself at that pace is going to be really next to impossible. With that, I would say thank you for this wonderful opportunity and wish you all the best.